Hi, this is Chris from Adventure School. I am coming to you right now from the ski lift here at Solitude Mountain Resort. And today I'm going to be talking to you about some tips and tricks on how to ski better. If you're skiing at a beginner or even an intermediate level right now and you want to get better, I've got a bunch of tips right now we're going to go throughout the day. I'll talk you through that will make you a better skier if you focus deliberately on them as you practice. The first one I want to talk about is keeping your shins forward. Sorry, this video is kind of bumpy on the lift here. Shins forward. So what I mean by that is your shins should be pressed into the tongues of your boots the whole time you're skiing. This does a lot of things we're going to talk about as we go through, but the first thing it does is it pushes your weight and your center of gravity forward. It helps you ski in a more aggressive stance, and that's going to give you more control, help you turn better, and it's going to increase your stability, especially through the rough and chattery stuff. So push your shins forward into your ski boots all day long. As soon as you start to lean back on your heels, you know you're probably done for the day. Make it a habit of focusing on each turn as you're coming down the mountain to touch your shins to your boots. And if you're deliberate about that for quite a while and you practice it, it'll become second nature to you. So shins forward into the boots. I want to see that as we're working throughout the day. I'll be bringing your next tip here in a second. Okay, next tip. It's related to the first one. Oftentimes when you're pushing your shins into your boots, you naturally will do this, but I want you to consciously think about this one too. Oftentimes skiers, especially when you're scared, you're going down new terrain or terrain you're not definitely comfortable in, you tend to flex your toes and tighten up your toes, curl them up in a little ball. That is a sign that you're not relaxed in your pose, you're not leaning forward. When you lean forward, you naturally kind of have to unflex your toes, but not always, you don't always. And so consciously think about if you're flexing your toes. Unflex them, relax your feet. You should be flexing at the ankles and working on your ankles. We'll talk about that next. But your toes should be relaxed. You don't want those curled up. It throws you off your balance, and it also prevents you from having as much control in the tips of your skis as you want. So unflex those toes and put your shins in your boots. Okay, as I said, the next tip is skiing with the tips of our skis. A lot of times we turn from the middle, we turn from our feet. We lean into things from our ankles, we roll on our ankles, and that's good. That's where we should be going. But mentally, we want to shift from skiing from our ankles to skiing to the tips of your skis. So what that looks like is when you're turning, when you're initiating a turn, think about that turn starting way out of the tip of your skis, not back here at your body. If you're thinking, lead with your tips as you go, and you consciously focus on leading with your tips, you're going to initiate the turn sooner. You're going to start the turn when you need to, and your weight's going to be in the right spot, which is forward on those tips. It'll reduce chatter, it'll increase control, and it will make you a better skier, really. Lead with the tips. Just mentally put the turn starting at your tips, and if you do that, you'll improve automatically. So practice that deliberately. Hey, here I am with the next tip in the list. This one's about turning again, but it has more to do with how we turn than where our balance is. And this one, I want to talk about rolling our skis. So in between turns, when we're connecting two turns together, when we're carving, you want to roll right across the bottom of your ski from turn to turn, so you're on your edges the whole time. You don't want to level out in the middle of your turn and go flat. That's where you get the chatter, that's where you lose control and lose speed. So what you want to do is connect your turns on the edges of your skis. You're going to roll through from edge to edge, left to right, and stay off the middle of your skis. That'll help you turn better. All right, the next tip I have for you goes back to turning. And not only do you want to roll from edge to edge when you turn, but you want both your skis to roll together. You want to enter the turn and exit the turn with parallel skis. Pizza and French fries, that's great if you're a beginner, But once you start to advance, if you want to up your game, you want to keep those skis parallel through the turn. Don't let your inside leg drag, and keep it moving with your outside leg so they're together. Edges should hit at the same time. You should roll on and off your edges at the same time, and that will improve your ability to control your turns. Okay, this next tip I have for you is a little different. It's about lunchtime up here on the mountain, and I'm getting a little hungry. So how I like to eat when I'm skiing, I don't want to waste time. I want to be on the mountain. I've got downtime when I'm sitting on the lift. And so my lunch today, frozen pizza. Okay, it's not really frozen, it's cold, but it's been in my front pocket on my coat all morning. But I like to bring pizza or a peanut butter sandwich or something that I can just grab in my hand and eat while I'm riding on the lift. Take a few bites. If I want to put it away and eat it later, I can do that. But this really helps me to get a full day of skiing in. Quick finger food that's satisfying and fulfilling, and you can eat it cold without freaking out too much. So pizza. Hi, still skiing hard up here. Next tip for you today is on hand position as well. So this one is not about pizza, it's about holding your food. Not while you're on the lift, but holding your food tray while you're skiing, meaning keep your hands forward while you're skiing. You want to keep your hands out in front of you. If you try to cross your hands across your body, put them behind you, things like that, it's going to throw you off balance, and your skis aren't going to carve the way that they should. What you really want to do is just keep your hands in front of you like you're holding a tray. They can be back by your hips, but keep that line where your arm is in line with your hips straight, and don't try to cross them over. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second when we get to turning your hips, but for now, arms out in front like you're holding a tray. All right, on to our next tip. So this one's more about pulls. When you're going downhill on some steeps, what you want to do is plant your inside pull, downhill side, just right inside your ski. So see right there, just plant it right there. You can even almost touch it to the inside of your ski. Just give it a good quick plant there and pull it back. That'll help guide your downhill, give you some stability as you're going down the mountain, and help you with the confidence as you ski down the steeps. All right, here's another one for you. As you're skiing down a hill, oftentimes, especially in poor light conditions or when we're going through tight terrain, we often tend to look straight down at the tips of our skis. Don't do that. Just like any adventure sport, you want to stay heads up. You want to keep looking far into the distance, make sure you know where you're headed. That keeps you upright, but it also helps keep you going in the right direction. And yeah, you want to gauge what immediate terrain's under your feet, where your turns are and all that, but keep your head up and keep looking down the terrain. Okay, next one. When you are skiing and you're doing some turns, this isn't just for the flats. When you're turning, what you want to do is pivot at your hips. You may be able to see this here. I don't know if you can see it. That's not great because I'm not actually skiing right now. But you want to pivot at your hips, so it creates a kind of a L shape in your body. Don't bend at your torso or at your shoulders. A lot of people tend to want to lean their shoulders, lean into the turns. Keep your upper body upright as much as you can, facing down the slope. You don't want to spin like this. You want to keep facing down the slope and just lean at your hips. So your hips are going to rock. That's where hip flexibility comes in, and being able to drop your knees down towards the ground comes in. That will give you power in your carve, and that will keep you balanced and upright as you ski fast. All right, so the mountain's about closed here. I'm gonna wrap it up and sign off for the day. Hope these tips have been helpful. I'm gonna give you a last tip as you have listened to these. That is, each one of these is an individual skill that you have to develop as you learn your skiing skills. You can't just go in and do all of these all at once if you're not already skilled in them. You've got to pick one at a time and focus on one at a time. So let's start with just keeping your shins to your boots. The first one we talked about. Spend a day, a week, a month, whatever it takes, and just focus on that. Forget everything else that you need to work on. You've got some good technique already, but focus on that shin to boot movement the whole time you're skiing all day. That deliberate practice, focusing on one skill at a time, that's how you're going to learn it and ingrain it. Feel free to send us a video of you doing this skill if you want to get some coaching and critique, but just go out and practice it. Really try to do your best to follow what you're doing. There's lots online about this. You can go read and watch videos and whatnot. This is just a quick tip session, but the main piece of this is deliberate practice. Go out and spend at least 100 hours focused on trying these different skills until they're totally solid in your repertoire. I'm still working on these. Today I've been deliberately practicing on my pole plants through the rough stuff. Sometimes I get sloppy, especially towards the end of the day. That's my deliberate practice for the day. Always trying to get better. So that's really the biggest tip for today. Deliberate practice on each one of these skills or any other skill or adventure you're working on. So that's it for today. I'm going to sign off here. Thank you for watching and joining us today. I very much appreciate you hanging out with us on our adventures. Come back and learn more. Subscribe to our channel. Go over to our website and check us out there as well. We've got all kinds of stuff for you to get out and adventure with more skill, more confidence, being safe and strong in everything that you're doing. So until next time, thank you. We'll see you later.